1, 2, 3, check, check.
My name is Natalie Kokochia. I'm from Georgia.
My name is Tenda Kandi. I'm from Zimbabwe.
My name is Rohit Mohammed and I am from Ethiopia.
When I first heard about studying in Europe, I saw it as a big opportunity to get more experience and to get to know two other cultures. So I moved to Europe to get education, but at the same time to fulfill my dreams, actually, to travel more, get to know to more people, and so far I think I'm making my dreams come true. It's been a long journey for me.
So I came here to study mainly, and well, the main reason behind it was just to get some exposure, because it's a different way, a different approach to life here. So yeah, I think it was just a good option to explore the other part of the world, and at the same time whilst earning a qualification. So I think it was a good deal, and well, my expectations were pretty much what I see every day around me. More opportunities for some work, and even the quality of the education I would say is above decent. So I think it's something that's really going pretty well, and I like it.
The main aim of mine to come to Poland in Europe is to study and gain some knowledge and have some new experience, make some new friends, and generally having new experience. That was my first goal.
Currently I'm staying in Torun, and I would say it's a very lovely city with a lot of history and gingerbread. So it's a pretty good place to be, and it's not too much hassle. It's a pretty cool place. It's not as busy and it's not as big, so it's one of those places where you just come and immediately you feel at home. So I really like it. And about Poland in general, I would say it's a pretty nice place. It's a very livable place, and a lot of opportunities to do whatever you may aspire to do. So I think it's generally a good place to live, work, and study.
Currently, I'm in a city called Torun. It's a small city compared to bigger cities like Warsaw, Krakow, Poznan. But Torun is a really good small city. It reminds me of my hometown because it's small. Generally, I like it. It's a really cool place.
Right now I live in Poznan. It's like 180 kilometers from here. And I was looking around and I felt comfortable, and she told me, look in the camera. So I live in Poznan, which is 180 kilometers from here. For me, the word Poland is already massive, and it means a lot of things at the same time. First of all, it was the first place where I lived when I left my family, when I left my home. Poland taught me a lot of things. He introduced me to a lot of really warm people, and to a lot of hard situations for me to get experience from. When I hear Poland, I imagine possibilities, energy, and future determination. I see this country as a place where you could grow psychologically and mentally, grow just as a person. So Poland for me is associated with growth and like stability for some reason.
of opportunities when you're a student in Poland. Firstly, you can study and work at the same time, and there's usually a lot of opportunities for work. Could be part-time or full-time, and there's also opportunities during studies. You can go for programs like Erasmus, where you can spend another part of your studies in another country outside of Poland, and you're studying the same thing but in a different country and university, but you're still progressing with your studies in the same way. So it's a lot of good opportunities for study.
I think for students, Poland is the best country to come because everything have a discount for students, and nowadays there's many foreigners coming to Poland, so we won't feel like you're alienated. You know, it's not just alone. You can find many friends and from different parts of the world. So I think Poland is a really nice place to be for students.
As a foreigner, I feel like I'm welcome in Poland, and I feel like I don't like nothing is holding me back just because I'm a foreigner. I think like people when they're looking at me, they're looking at somebody who could do a lot of things.
It's not a word, but it's a phrase. Szczęśliwy Nowego Roku. It's Happy New Year. And yeah, that's why I'm still saying it in September, because it's the most difficult word I had to learn, so I still use it whenever I can.
And the most difficult one was, it's not a word, but it's a term. It's on a poem. Something like that. And I don't know what it means, and I still don't know how to say it. So that's the hardest thing.
Wszczebrzeszynie.
Nie.
Chrząży brzmi.
Yeah.
Once in Skierniewicach, my Polish friend who is like way older than me, she invited me to her home city and she told me, oh, this was my liceum. And there was a long freaking word and I was like, what does this ogólnokształcące mean? So this is the word that, there are a lot of harder words, for example, Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz or something, but this word will be in my mind for a long time.
It's a pretty broad difference between not just Zimbabwean but most African cuisine. Is totally different from Polish, because I realized Polish is mainly based on a lot of meat and soups and vegetables, and ours is mostly based on starch and of course meat, but not as central as it is in Polish cuisine, and also vegetables. So our staple is called sadza. It's kaszamana in Polish, and just make it like a semi-solid paste. Yeah, it's pretty soft, and you have it with vegetables and meat and just a little bit of soup, and it's really good. But I'll say Polish food is really tasty too. My favorite is bigos. Bigos is a mixture of bean soup and sausage, and it's really nice. And for me, Polish food is just as good, and I feel like it's almost like, you know, food from home too. So it's good.
Ethiopian food, there are many spices and different tastes. In the Polish dish, I couldn't really find them here, and um, for example, injera is the main dish in Ethiopian food. So I don't have injera here, so it's a difficult part.
So the main, like for me, because I'm vegetarian, I think, and that's why the main difference is that they add kielbasa in a lot of dishes. For example, bigos. Bigos is nice with mushrooms, but kielbasa, and they have a lot of food like this. For example, also they ai mai înseamnă să sacăm. Ai este tidi pulere de sub să scaun și mitra cu ea.
Like language, I guess language is a part of culture, and here in Poland, no means yes. So I was working and I come across a guy, and I get to this guy's place and I'm ringing on his doorbell, and I told him I'm at your door. Is it the guy with the food such and such? And he say no, and I'm thinking maybe I'm at the wrong address, and I ask him again and he say no, and I ask him should I enter, and he say no, and yeah, we keep going back and forth because I think his no means no, and he ended up coming downstairs to get the food, and I asked him like, oh, why I asked you, is this your food such and such? And he said no, and I asked him why are you saying no when it's yes, and he said no means yes, and in Polish. So it was really funny, like, okay, now I know, and now I guess I probably use it more than Polish people.
According to the cultural difference, I think it's the name of the shops, Bidronka and Żabka. And Bidronka means a ladybug, and Żabka means a frog. And personally, it's really funny to me because we in Ethiopia we wouldn't call a store a ladybug or a frog. It's a weird thing.
So it's not funny, it's awkward, you know, like it was awkward for me. Once a really sweet couple invited us Georgians to their home for Święta. It's like Christmas. For Christmas, and in Georgia culture, when you go as a host, in Georgia culture, when you visit somebody as a guest, you just exist, you know, you don't do anything. And we were at their home, and they were so like sweet to us, they were so warm to us, and we were just sitting on the table, you know, and they are just doing everything, but I feel this pressure, and I feel like something is not going right. And I feel the urge to help them, when usually in Georgia we just never help hosts, like they just do everything themselves. Turns out that in Polish culture it's different, and you, as a guest, you should always help your host. And that was thanks God I got to know to that fact back then, and now I always help the hosts. And like that was the awkward, funny situation because due to the culture difference, because I didn't know that. And I have one more story. Always. So, this is even more shameful. When we first came here, we didn't know that, actually not in every city in Poland, but in Torun they have these big boxes, metal boxes, where you can put your clothing, your old clothing that you want to throw away. And they will take this clothing and give it to, like, they will distribute it where it should be. And the point is that we didn't know that these boxes were for clothing. We thought they were for trash. And when we were taking the big bags of the trash, we used to put it there, throw it away, and just walk away happy. And one day our neighbor saw us, and he told our house owner that we are throwing trash in the, like, church. And one neighbor saw us, and he told our house renter, that we are throwing away trash in the boxes for charity. That was awkward, that was really shameful, but I didn't know that, so now I'll remember it till the end of my days.
It depends on the way you look at it, and if you see the differences as something you cannot get through it, then it becomes a problem. But if you have an open mind, if you are open-minded, I think it will be easier, and it's kind of fun, and it's a new experience. It's just life, I guess, and it's just deal with it. So for me, it's a challenge, but at the same time, it's a good thing. I don't see it as a problem.
Cultural difference wasn't a barrier as much as it was an opportunity to see like how big is the range of cultures and attitudes towards the same things. Like just because we have different cultures, me and my friends see the things differently. And for example, for me as a Georgian, I always thought that everyone, like Georgians think this is the common knowledge and common like something, and everyone is just like this in the whole world because we're all humans. But guess what? I came in Poland, and turns out like same tree and 5 different countries can see it 5 different ways. And this was for me like, this opened my eyes, and this showed like how different the same things could be, like the same different perspectives of the same object. And not only this was interesting for me mentally, it was like philosophically, it gave me something philosophically, made me think. It was food for my brain, so I don't think it was an obstacle.
I'll say totally new for me was the climate, of course, because I wasn't used to the kind of temperatures that I encounter here. And even more strange was the fact that in the winter when I came, it wasn't winter, it wasn't in the middle of the winter, but it was just starting, and the sun was going down at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and that was really confusing for me because I was in the train and coming from Warsaw on the first day, and it's 15:30, and I look outside the window and I see it's dark. So I was thinking it's some really cool technology they have to make it look like it's dark outside, and I was impressed. Until the next day when it was 15:30 again and I was outside and it was actually dark, and up to now it's something that I really find strange, you know. But yeah, eventually you get used to it.
It's not about Poland as much as it's about just leaving your home and just starting a new life. Independence was new for me because I was 18 and I was living in my family all my life, and the need to take care of yourself by your own and not expecting help from others was a new for me, and it helped me. Like I really love doing stuffs by myself and like making my way in the jungle. When I was thinking of coming back to Georgia, to the same field where I came from, because this is all new for me, to the same field, I told my mom that I got my way in Poland like a person would get way in the jungle with little scissors, you know, like cutting day by day just to get your way. And I said to her, like, I don't want to come back yet because now I need to finish what I have here. Every day is new experience, so like literally every week something new happens. And I could never do without it, I think.
have to be open-minded if you're going to move to Europe or Poland in particular. You have to be open-minded, and you have to expect a lot of things, good and bad, and you just have to, most importantly, just enjoy the ride, and go with the flow. Because the moment you try to resist the change, then it's going to take you a lot of time to adapt, or you're never going to adapt to the new country and the new setting. So you just have to be open-minded and just be ready to embrace the change, and like I said, most importantly, just enjoy it.
Get yourself ready. It's not going to be an easy ride, but at the same time, that's what you come for. So get ready, be open-minded, deal with people, deal with situations, and hopefully it will turn out to be good. And don't take it that seriously when you meet new culture and a new perspective from people. Just accept it.
One sentence I would say to myself when I moved here 2 years ago is that be more open to new culture, and just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's bad. Now I'm wise enough to know this. Back then I was dumb, and nobody told me this. I was like, it's such a common sense that you should be open to things, that you should be open to environment. This is like logical, this is common sense, but for some reason I didn't know this, and I never paid attention that I should be open. So that's what I would say to anyone who is willing to start new life by moving to a different culture.
People actually, especially after I grow my hair, they just come in, do you have some weed? No way.